Hey, this is Catherine Hickland, and I am here for the WSE Lounge podcast. Some of the most fun interviews that you'll ever hear.
This is country music singer Ashley Carson, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge.
Hey, this is David A. Gregory, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge.
Hey guys, I'm Robert Palmer Watkins. I play Dylan Quartermain on General Hospital, and you are listening to the WSE Lounge.
Hey, everybody, Maggie Boss here. You're listening to the WSE Lounge. Hey, y'all, we're not Dixie, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge.
Hey, everybody, this is Patricia Darbo. I play Shirley Spectra on The Bold and the Beautiful, and you're listening to WSE Lounge.
Hello, this is Ian Buchanan, your Natalie is Newlady on General Hospital, and also Dr. Dave Floyd on The Bold and the Beautiful. And you are listening to WSE Lounge. Hi, I'm Luis Bedard. I play Sonny on General Hospital. I play Sonny Corinthos, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge.
Hey, what's up? This is Mark Anthony Samuel from ABC General Hospital. You may know me as Steven Dubois. You're listening to the WSE Lounge.
Hi, I'm Kiki Weaver, and I play Danny Morgan on General Hospital, and you're listening to WSE Lounge.
Hey, this is Kristen Alderson, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another great edition of the WSE Lounge. I want to first let you know that our sponsors of today's show are Stevens and Stevens Group Real Estate in the state of Georgia, and you can check them out on their website. And I want to, at this time, welcome my guest at this time, actress Tonja Walkaer from One Life to Live. She's known as Alex Olanov and Olivia Jerome on General Hospital. Welcome to the show, Tonja.
Hey, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually sitting on my property here in Easton, Connecticut, out in the sun. It's finally sunny. I had to make sure the chair was dry out here. We had so much rain. But that makes for all the pretty flowers to be coming out here pretty soon, so that's exciting. I love spring.
Yes, I love pretty flowers. They're just so fascinating to look at. What actually got my interest in pretty flowers was Ian Buchanan. He posts a lot of them on his social media sites. Yes.
He does.
And
I should start doing that, especially because I'm going to put my house up on the market for sale. And I'm just waiting. Now the apple blossoms bloomed and the cherry blossoms are starting to bloom, and I'll be able to get the dogwoods here blooming soon, and the lilacs, and then I'll put the house on the market. It is irresistible, I have to say. Irresistible house. I love my house, but I need to get back to work.
yeah, and speaking of that, before I get to some questions that I had for you,
Okay.
I'm going to take some of your fan questions.
Okay.
Mary Ellen Smith wants to know, when are you coming back to General Hospital?
Well, wouldn't that be a good answer to have?
Yeah.
I called Frank last week. I haven't heard back from him. I think people just have to make a really huge stink. I mean, the only way that I've ever been able to get back on a show or stay on a show is through the fans. I mean, that has saved my characters so many times, especially for when I was on all the time. I remember when I was on, let's see, which one? General Hospital, they were going to kill me off after 13 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started as Olivia, and the fans wrote in and called and called and wrote and called and wrote and called and wrote and called to Soap Opera Digest and Soap Opera Weekly back then. And they just pounded ABC with, don't kill her off, don't kill her off. And sure enough, they figured out how to, and I helped write the story because the writer's strike happened right about then too. And they turned her around, and I was on the show for years after that, and that was fantastic. And then when I went to One Life to Live, as soon as I got there, we got a new producer, so I came in as the FBI agent, or FAB, FAB agent, who worked opposite Buchanan. And then we got a new producer. And whenever you get a new producer, they want to kill off all the people that they can and bring in people that they've created, their characters that they've created, which I totally understand because they want to use their own creative juices and come up with their own ideas. And so anybody that's not like absolutely necessary in the script, like for General Hospital people, would be like the Quartermain. And at One Life, it would be like the Buchanan. They try to kill off everybody else so they can bring in whoever they want to make the show their own. And so Lizzie Gottlieb came in and decided that Alex could be released. And one of the head writers came down to get coffee down by us, down in our dungeon. We called it the dungeon. We had no windows in our dressing rooms, and it was in the basement there. One Life to Live in the Armory. We were shooting on 66th Street in New York City. Anyway, so they never came down from downstairs, but the head writer, Craig Cost, he comes down, and he says, they're crazy. And I said, what? And he shows me this National Enquirer story where it looks like that Alex was going to do a Fatal Attraction storyline on One Life to Live. And I said, I just did a Fatal Attraction storyline on the hospital. He goes, they're crazy. So I ran upstairs with the newspaper, and Linda said, where'd you get this from? I said, well, it doesn't really matter where I got this from. I haven't even paid for the move from LA to here yet, and you're going to kill me off.
Wow.
So a bunch of people wrote in and called and all that. And again, I got to stay on the show for years after that. So, I mean, the fans have a huge thing to say about it. And I don't know if they realize it anymore. Back in the day, they did realize it. Now I'm not sure that they do. So I just want you all to know that you matter. You really do matter. And, but you have to make a big, loud stink. And I know it takes a lot of work and a lot of time and everything, but it does matter.
Well,
I don't know what's going back to General Hospital. When people make enough noise, I guess I'll go back. That's why not. That's the long answer to that short question.
Okay. I got a question of my own. On One Life to Live, your character was at one time married to the late Asa Buchanan. What was it like working with Phil Carey?
Well, it was unpredictable. Some days he was in a really good mood. He pretty much played himself on that show, I swear.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sometimes he was in a really good mood. You know how sometimes Asa would be in a really silly mood, and then sometimes he'd be a bear, and just like Asa could be. And no matter what he was, he did a great job. He was always a terrific actor. He always made it interesting and fun for me. And I'm grateful I had the chance to work with him. I really am.
Awesome. Yeah, I know that. I believe Phil did some guest role. I believe he did a guest role on Roseanne at one time, and also on Bonanza. He was on there.
Oh, he was in a lot of the spaghetti westerns. I mean, years ago, he worked with John Wayne. I mean, he worked with a lot of people. But on our show, he just created an iconic character, and he was wonderful to work with. Wonderful.
Awesome. Now you also had romances with Max Holden, and you were in love with Bo Buchanan. Tell us about those.
Well, Alex really was in love with Bo Buchanan, and that's who I was brought on to the show to work with when Paul Roush, the producer, hired me for that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was right after Sarah had gotten killed off or written off or whatever. And, Alex was supposed to be his love interest, but like I said, we got a new producer right away, and they hired the character of Cassie. They hired Laura Bonarigo. They decided to have me Alex tried to drown her in Loon Lake, and that was a real trip. We had to go on location way up in northern New York. It's up in I think it was the Catskills. Might have been Pocono. It was in the mountains up there, and there was this big, beautiful lake, and it was freezing cold. And Danny Aiello Jr., who passed away, he was our stunt coordinator, and we really had to be careful because we were shooting underwater, and I was supposed to get on the canoe, and I had to put one foot on one side of the canoe or the kayak, and one foot on the other side, and rock it back and forth so it flipped over, and I had to do that myself. I've never done that before, obviously, but you don't do that in real life on purpose.
Oh my goodness.
So I had to flip the canoe or the kayak, whatever it is, over, and then I had to attempt to drown her without hurting her, and that took a lot of practice, and Laura was a real trooper, and I was a little bit scared because I didn't want to hurt her, but I had to look like I was, wanting to kill her. It was really, that's what those stunts are all about. And then we did have stunt people for some of the underwater fighting, but that's basically that's what happened with the Bo character. And then from then on, Alex really cared about him, but she just could never get him. She couldn't get him. That was it.
Well, speaking of that, I thought it was so funny on General Hospital when they brought Nora Buchanan on, and she was representing your character of Olivia Jerome, and at the end you looked up at Nora and you said, "Hey, tell that cowboy I said hey."
I know, and I was really hoping, and they had told me I was going to be coming back that October, and oh my God, I was so happy. I was planning on it. I was totally planning on it. I was so excited. I thought, oh my God, I've got a recurring character, and then I don't know what happened exactly. There had been a tweet that I had written for people to stand for the national anthem, and some people thought I was a racist for saying that. So I was afraid that that was like the worst thing anybody could ever say about me. And so I was afraid maybe that had something to do with it, because that's the last thing I am. There's a lot of mixed race people in my family, and I don't know where the hell they got that from. But they put that out there, and then a week later, or 2 days later, I got a call saying they weren't going to be bringing it back in October. But then the producer said it didn't have anything to do with that. They said that it was they were bringing back Steve Burton, and then that character was it was going to be complicated, and it was going to have so many different pieces and parts, with the previous, Jason and him, and that it just wasn't. It wasn't enough time to write my coming back the way that they wanted to when they had to bring him back and write that story and have it not be confusing. And that makes sense to me. So I'm hoping that the Twitter thing had nothing to do with it, and it was just about the Steve Burton thing. But that really hurt my feelings and upset me greatly, and it still does, that Twitter thing. But this was fantastic that they called and talked to me about it. So I guess still open. I guess the door's still open.
Well, I mean, just my 2 cents. I think that everybody should stand up for the national anthem. because we've got so many soldiers and so many veterans before us that have fought for this country and the right for us to have freedom in this country. And I think that's why people should stand up for the, for the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem.
That's what I wrote was if it weren't for the people that had died for this country, the people that are playing football wouldn't be able to make millions of dollars every Sunday. They'd be raking leaves. And I said raking leaves instead of waiting tables because I wanted to say waiting tables. But I only had 140 characters. You know how back then they didn't have the 240 like they do now, or the 220, whatever they let you have.
Yeah, on Twitter,
Back then it was 140, right? So I went, okay, waiting tables is 13. What can I come up with that's a menial job? Let's see. I didn't mean menial in a bad way, but I was just trying to say that they're making billions of dollars because of the freedoms we have in this country due to the fact that the soldiers have given their lives for it. That's what my point was. So I'm trying to come up with a job I can write, to compare making millions of dollars on Sunday playing football to. And I went, okay, RAKINGLEA. That's only 12. Okay, great. Well, then people thought I was being racist because of the various colors of people, nationalities of people that do lawn work. And that was totally not what I was trying to say. It was painful for me. I mean, extremely painful for me to be called things like that. And then to have them call me right after, I had no idea, if not getting back on this show had anything to do with that. But then my cousin, my uncle George, wrote me and said, because he's a colonel, and he wrote me, he said, well, we fought for people to have the right to say whatever they want to say, Tonja. So if they want to kneel instead of stand for the national anthem, we also fought for them to have the right to do that.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. I mean, I didn't even know what the cause was. I didn't know that it was like a Black Lives Matter thing. I just knew that I'd been really busy, and I noticed that people have been trashing the country a lot lately, and that all of a sudden people were not standing for the national anthem, and I hadn't looked into the depth of the story or what the cause was or what the purpose was or anything. And so I just, I try to stay off Twitter now because I don't want to get in trouble with people, and I know I love this country and I love all people, and I don't have a racist bone in my body, so I just have to make sure that I'm really careful about what I say because it can, it can really harm you and harm other people, and you don't even realize it. So it used to be a lot easier to talk, and now there's a lot of people that are extremely sensitive to so many things, and we don't really know what they're sensitive about. So you just have to shut up. I mean, I feel badly about that, but it's just a time in our history where we have to be careful.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I mean, it's very hard to speak up and say what you feel or anything, because if you, it's like this. I mean, it's got so ridiculous. I mean, you can say that you don't like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and somebody will take it the wrong way, and they'll run with it, and they'll cut you down the ground,
Yeah.
I mean,
it's really gotten hateful. There used to be the benefit of the doubt. People expected to give other people the benefit of the doubt, and now it seems like everybody's looking for a gotcha moment.
Yeah.
And I find that to be really frightening because freedom of speech is really important.
Oh, yes, it really is.
And it's important for both sides. I mean, if they don't want to stand for, if people don't want to stand for the national anthem because there's a lot of innocent Black people getting shot, I understand that.
Oh, yeah, I do too. I didn't
understand that when I wrote that. I was just saying I wanted people to stand for the national anthem because I'm patriotic, and I think this country's great. I didn't know that there was this other didn't know that, you know. I hadn't been investigating it. And I just thought there was no excuse for not standing for the national anthem because half the family's in the military.
Uh-huh.
But then when my Uncle George wrote me and told me that I really should, you know, keep in mind that that's also the reason that they fight, is so people can kneel for the anthem if they want to. I was like, okay, you know, I get it. So it's a possibility. There's a possibility that this will be a time for growth. There's a possibility that we can learn from each other during this period of time. You know, this is a very interesting time. You know, I'm not real young. I've been through everything from the women's movement. I was raised in the 70s, really. You know, as a little girl, I was, you know, I remember when Ms. Magazine came out and when I used to have debates with my dad over women's rights. And I was the head of the debate team in school, and I was the first student on the Board of Education because I wanted to make sure that students were not intimidated by their teachers or their or bullies. And I had a lot of bullying to me when I was a kid, and I was very political, you know, for people's rights, for the underdog when I was a kid. And as I grew up, I've always been that way, and I always believed in equal pay for equal work, and I was very strong, you know, with women's rights, and I loved Gloria Steinem, and I got to meet Gloria Steinem, and that was like such a huge, huge thing for me. And I've always been very strongly in favor of supporting the LGBTQ community. My husband was from Ohio, and he'd never met a gay person. And when he married me, you know, half my friends were gay. And he's like, I'm in the show business. I've got a lot of gay friends.
Yeah.
And he loved all my friends. And it really opened his eyes to you know, the acceptance and love of different kinds of people. And so I've been, you know, I remember when Freddie Mercury got AIDS, and it was devastating. I remember when Rock Hudson got AIDS, and one of the producers on our show was there at his home when he was suffering. I've been through all of these different times in history since I've been alive, you know, where so many things have opened up the eyes of the public to various things that they needed to see that they didn't know before. The thing that's bothering me the most right now, after 9/11, there's a lot of people that weren't here when that happened, and my kids were. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I'm just
my phone's
listening to you.
And I never know if that means somebody's going to hang up, because I live in the country and sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I never really know if people are going to remember. I don't think people remember if they weren't born. You can't remember. I don't know if people really understand how devastating it was to have our country bombed like that with the airplanes. And so many mistakes were made after that as a response to it, and so many great things happened after that as a response to it. Nobody really knew how to respond to it. It had never happened before. And I think there were wars that were fought that may not have been fought, maybe shouldn't have been fought in the places that they were. I think there were, you know, people trying to spy on other people because they wanted to make sure nothing like that ever happened again. Truly, it was a trial and error period for the whole country, for the politicians, for the people, for the enforcement, the government enforcement, for everybody, for the FBI, for everybody. You know, nobody really knew how to keep this from happening again. What do you do? How far do you go? What do you? You know, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare for our country, and to go back down there today and see the Freedom Tower and see everything looking all pretty and pristine again. Those of us who lived through that, and everybody in the country lived through it, but New Yorkers were there, and we were right there. And God, you know, it was amazing how everybody in New York pulled together and the whole country pulled together. But but since then, there's been a lot of crazy things that have happened, and there's still a lot of lingering issues, that have to do with the nationality of people that were in the airplanes and the religious affiliations of the people that bombed us. I call it, it's caused a lot of prejudice that I don't even think we had before. It's just, and all of it is still bubbling up today. I mean, it's bubbling up right now. It's bubbling up all over the world. And I don't know how it's going to resolve itself. But it's obviously a time for great learning and growth, and to pay attention and to listen, as opposed to taking opportunities to be offended. Someone once said to me, if you want to get up in the morning and decide, okay, I'm going to be offended today, you walk out the front door, you will be offended. You have to try not to go out into the world waiting to be offended. But at the same time, we all have to be more sensitive to other people's feelings.
I cannot agree any more with that, and I got something to tell you, kind of funny. A few months back, I did a poll on Sean Brady's Soap Fans United, where I'm actually one of the moderators there, thanks to Sean Brady, and I asked everybody if they would like to see Bo Buchanan as a new police commissioner of Port Charles. And there was an overwhelming response of about 399 people that wanted it. I mean, it was amazing.
I bet. What's he doing now?
I don't know. I've really been looking to see what he's doing, but I haven't heard of him doing anything. I mean, I know that I've seen pictures of him and Eddie a while back, Eddie Alderson. Yeah, they hung out a while back, and other than that, I haven't seen anything of him. So I don't know what he's doing now, but it's real funny. When I used to watch One Life to Live, and I watched Robert portray the character of Bo Buchanan, I was like, I wish I had an uncle like him, because he was just he was just so neat. I mean, and
Yeah.
I mean, he was stern, and I mean, I could just imagine the kind of ratings General Hospital would get if they brought in Nora as like the DA and brought in Bo as the commissioner, and him and Jason and Sonny going back and forth with the Jeromes. I mean, or him looking at Franco and saying, "Wait a minute, you sure do look familiar. Don't I know you from Landview?"
Yeah, and I think crossovers are really fun. I wish we had done more crossovers when both shows were actually on the air. They do that on CBS. They would have people from Young and the Restless go over to Bold and the Beautiful and vice versa. And I think crossovers are really fun. They do it at nighttime now on the nighttime soap operas. They'll have some of the Dick Wolf shows. The PD will do something with the Chicago PD will do something with Chicago Fire. It's very cool, I think, when that happens.
Now, why did speaking of crossovers, I know that All My Children and One Life to Live did several of them, and I know that Robin Christopher made history as being on all three soap operas, All My Children, One Life to Live, and General Hospital as Sky.
Yeah.
So why did General Hospital never have a crossover with All My Children, One Life to Live? Was it because they were in different filming locations, or what?
Probably.
Oh.
It was easier, I think. It's always easier for shooting in the same city. That's the only thing I could think of.
Okay.
It would just cost more money to transfer somebody from California to New York to do them.
Okay, and I got another fan question I'm going to ask you. Now, this one, I know that your first fan question, you had a long answer. Well, this is a long question, so just bear, just bear with me. Okay, Ashley Morgan says, "Hi, Tonja. With so many streaming services being available, such as Netflix and Hulu, how do you see this affecting the soap opera genre? Would you ever consider developing a streaming service for soap operas? I would definitely pay to watch my soaps. Loved you on GH and One Life to Live. And I wish you all the best in your future endeavor. Thanks so much."
That's a good question, Ashley. I wouldn't want to develop a streaming service because there's already so many huge streaming services that I don't think I'd have a snowball chance in hell of having a successful one.
Okay.
Considering that Disney's got one starting, and Apple has one starting, and Amazon already has one, and there's Netflix, and who knows how many others are going to jump on the bandwagon there. But I am developing a couple shows. And one of them is a comedy about dating as a grown-up, like from your 40s on, and it's kind of funny. And then, I've been asked to do some things on my own, like on my own YouTube channel, which I'm going to start doing, so people can look out for that. Because people want to see me do things, and one way to go directly to the people is go directly to YouTube. You can put things on YouTube and people can see it all over the world, and you don't have to go through the hoops that you used to have to go through to get something on the air. And I think that's the best thing. The thing about soap operas is that everything on TV just about is a soap opera now. Unfortunately, they don't call them soap operas, but that's what they are. I mean, when they have to have, last week on Whiskey Cavalier, and they have to show you all the things that happened on Whiskey Cavalier before they get to what's happening today, and that happens on just about everything that's on nighttime TV. It's the same with 911. It's the same with a lot of the Chicago shows. They are procedural shows, and you can watch them on their own. You don't have to have watched it before. But my goodness, look at Game of Thrones. I mean, everybody's like, "Oh no, you have to watch from the beginning." I mean, it's like everything is a soap opera. It's like, well, you have to know what happened. You have to know what happened before, and that's what a soap opera is. It used to be called a serial. And just about everything on nighttime television that's successful is a serial. You need to know who was married to who before, who killed who before such and such happened, and it's very popular now.
Well, something funny. And I've never even watched the show Whiskey Cavalier. Whenever I heard that name on ABC, I thought they said Kristen Cavalier, the actress. I thought they were talking about her from Laguna Beach. Whenever because it sounds familiar. The name does.
Yeah.
But something I wanted to go back to though, and this will ease your mind a little bit. You had mentioned that you felt like that, you wasn't sure on your character going back to GH, and when they called you, they told you that it was because of Steve Burton coming in as Jason.
Yeah.
There's another person, and I'm not gonna mention any names, but there is another person out there that is a soap star. They told me personally that they had been released because of Steve coming in, and so that might ease your mind a little bit. I don't know, but you know, but
Yeah, they had a lot to do. That was a very complicated storyline,
yeah.
and they had to make room, you know, to explain that storyline, and it was very complicated, very complicated. I'm still not sure I understand it.
Did you and Blair Kramer ever have any scenes together?
Hardly.
Okay.
We had some that were fun when it had to do with Asa. That was a blast, you know, because we'd both been married to him. I tell you, the funniest thing that ever happened was when Cassie had a flashback. Right, her character had a flashback one time. I don't know how many of you all saw it. I really hope that you did, but you may not have. But it was really, really funny. Blair had a flashback, right, of things that had happened in her life before, and there was another character that played her, named Mia Korf, and so when Cassie had this flashback, it flashback to things that had happened when Mia was playing her. and the look on, you know, they always have the close-up of the person that's having, you know, Cassie was having the flashback, so they had the close-up of her face, and then they had the flashbacks playing, like, in the background. You know how they do that on the camera and everything. And then all of a sudden they showed Mia's face with Asa, you know, and the look on Cassie's face was, like, priceless. It was really one of the best things that ever happened, and it was just a comedy, this little tiny secret comedy between the show and the fans, and it was brilliant. But Cassie has played so many remarkable, believable, and memorable characters on daytime, and she just continues to do that. She continues to invent characters that last, and you know, I have a lot of respect to her and for her for being able to do that.
Oh yeah, she's great. She's now Eve Donovan over at Days. So she's,
is that right?
Yeah, she's over there on Days, and you know, matter of fact, Robin Strasser, who played Dorian Lord, is going to be debuting on Days pretty soon as another character. I believe she's coming on as she's coming on as Vivian. Vivian, somebody that used to be on Days a long time ago.
Oh, well, that'll be fun.
Yeah, so I don't know.
We haven't seen Robin in years and years and years.
So I don't know if Robin's going to be in any scenes with Cassie or not, but you know, that'd be very interesting.
Yeah, it sure will be.
What was it that made you decide you wanted to be an actress?
God. I knew that's what I was supposed to be from the time I was like 3 years old. And I knew that if I got married too soon, it would keep me from doing what I wanted to do. I don't know why I knew that, but I did. So I waited to get married until I had really achieved a lot as an actress, and achieved a lot in my career before I got married and had children. And I got married and had children when I was 37. So I waited a long time. And sure enough, as soon as I got married and had children, I hardly worked at all in the past 20 years. I mean, I worked, but hardly at all, compared to working constantly for 20 years before that. So now I'm a little worried because I need to go back to work, and I'm hoping that I'll have another shot at being an actress on TV again. That's what I want to do. That's still what I love. It's still my favorite thing to do in the world. It's still the thing that makes my heart sing. I like producing and creating shows as well. But it's really important to me that I go back out there and get back on, because it's really important to me that I work as an actor. It's in my DNA. It's part of it's from makes me me in a big way. I got into real estate because I love creating homes and beautiful things and helping people find properties and making their dreams come true that way. But there's nothing for me that's as fulfilling and feels as right for me as acting does. So I'm hoping that I'll get a chance to do that. Yeah.
Well, I sure hope so, because you're a great actress. You know, on One Life to Live, I remember you the most. Now your first run on General Hospital, I think I was still a kid. Your first run on GH, but you're also a singer and a producer. Are you still doing that?
Yeah. Well, again, my husband passed away December 7th, and I had been taking care of Ed full time for 4 years, and before that, I was raising my beautiful children. And Bella is now at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in Los Angeles. She graduates at the end of this month, and my daughter Abby is at SMU in Dallas.
Wow.
And so I produced the Derby Stallions, and I produced a couple of news radio broadcasts called Straight Talk Live with Tonja Walkaer. I worked in a lifestyle show called American Lifestyle Magazine. But generally I would do appearances on the soaps from time to time. But I was a full-time, constant working actor before I got married, and I don't want to go back to that. It's important to me. So now, like I said, I'm trying to heal from this devastating loss and get myself back. And I'm writing about that to try to help other people understand how I'm coping and how it has been for me. It's more than heartbreaking when your spouse dies. Everything in your whole life, from getting up in the morning and having coffee to going to bed at night, is different. So, just learning to live without that person in your home is such a challenge. And to get the energy to get up and get out and do and be and just to find yourself again is it's huge. It's not an easy task, and it takes time. And your mind kind of goes when it first happens. You can't remember things. You don't have all your capacity like you do before. It's very, very, very strange. But the more I read about it, the more I find out that that's very common. So it's been 5 months almost, and I'm getting better. I'm coming out, and I still have a long way to go with that. But I'm moving forward for myself and for my girls and for Ed, who would want me to do that. And I'm trying to find myself again and to become all that God wants me to be now, and live the rest of my life as in whatever way that God sees fit. So I've got to put everything out there and see what clicks and see what opportunities arise and what doors open and walk through them. And that's where I'm at. That's exactly where I am. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just gonna let people know I'm here and I'm available and go meet with people and talk to everybody and see where God wants me to go next. That's exactly where I'm at.
Well, I wanted to ask you, when Ed was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, what stage was he in?
4.
4, okay. Because my dad, we just recently lost him. It'll be a year next month. He passed June the 22nd of last year, and he was diagnosed in September of 2018 with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And
Right.
so I know, I know what you're going through, and my mom also knows, what you're going through. We spent 9 months, taking care of my dad and everything, and it was really, really, really hard, and really, really rough, and they had tried the chemo and the radiation, and it wasn't working. And then there was another one. They said that they didn't think it would work, but he wanted to try it, but it didn't work. And
yeah. Well, we found a serum from the UK that helped us, but it took just about every penny we had, and it did keep him alive for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
It got him, but it was a serum that was all natural that came from the UK, from a scientist over there, and we paid for it, and it kept him alive a long time, a lot longer than he was given 3 to 6 months, and he was here almost 4 years. So
wow,
we were very lucky that way. And again, it would come and go and come and go and come and go, but it did go, from time to time, and we did that along with the chemotherapy. So we got to keep them around for a lot longer than most people do. But now I really need to go back to work because that was a very expensive treatment, and it was worth every penny to have him with us as long as we could. And I would be happy to talk to anybody that wants to pursue that anytime. If anybody contacts you, you make sure you let me know, because I would be happy to talk to them about that anytime.
Okay.
And put them in touch with that doctor.
I sure will. I got another fan question for you.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay. Eric Cole says, Tonja Walkaer, your acting, your personality, your looks, and your decency have inspired real dedication in many of your fans. What are the ways your biggest devotees can support you and your career going forward?
Thanks, Eric. I guess they could write to Days of Our Lives and tell them I need to be on that show, or Young and the Restless, or Bold and Beautiful, or General Hospital, or any place that they want to see me. That, just like I said before, making a lot of noise, really matters. And I need to have more Instagram followers. Of course, I need to post more. I need to have more Twitter followers. I need to have, I haven't figured out this Facebook thing. I started Facebook when it started, okay? So all my fans and all my family and everybody I knew was on one page. And now I can't seem to get my fans to go to the public figure page. And I understand that they don't really want to do that. The problem I have is I can't add any more fans to my Facebook page because it's an original page and they only take 5,000 people. So I could use some more followers on Instagram and Twitter, and then making a lot of noise with the shows that are out there that say that you want to see me on them. I mean, that would be all I can think of. Anybody else has an idea?
Well, and I will tell you something. I will tell you something pretty neat. I know you know Jessica Morris. Who used to be Jen on One Life to Live.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jessica Morris, I had her on here one time for an interview, and after the interview was over, a couple of days later, I messaged Jessica, and I said, Jessica, you got your own fan page? She said, no. I said, you want one? She said, sure. I said, well, I can make you an official fan page and run it for you if you'd like. She said, yeah, do that. She said, I'd love that. So I run her official fan page here on Facebook.
Oh, well, that's cool. I think there's a woman named Shannon who has done that for me. I don't know if everybody can join it. It would be better if they could. But
Is it Shannon? Is it Shannon Morrison?
Oh,
Shannon Marie Morrison?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, I know her very well.
Yeah, she's done more for me, I swear. Her and Aaron, so many people have been there's like a handful of people that have been God, so supportive, I can't even tell you. During so many things in my life, I owe them so much. But I do need to have all those things to get bigger and bigger and bigger, because that's what these people in the powers of position that can hire you, that's what they look at now. They look at that. And, but my fault is that I haven't been putting enough stuff out there for people to like and join and that sort of thing. So I need help with that too. And then need to make myself do it. But I'm trying. I've got a lot on my plate at the moment. I'm also trying to, I've got to get a new apartment for my daughter out in LA, and I've got to get one for myself. And I'm going to sell my house, and I've got to get out there and see if I can get some work in LA, and I'd like to try to get some work in New York, and continue to support my children, and get through this period of time and be both a mom and a dad for them. And and the more I can work, the better off everybody will be. So that's the next step.
Now, which one of your daughters is it that looks exactly like you? Got the blonde hair and green eyes.
Blue eyes.
Yeah, blue eyes. Abby, okay.
Abriana.
Yeah,
Abriana David.
I seen that picture on I seen that picture on your Facebook one day, and I was like, man, she looks just like her mama.
Yep, she does. She does, and she's so smart and so sweet and so pretty and such a good soul and sharp as a tack. She's decided to go into public relations and advertising, and she'll be successful. She just can't help herself. But I always thought she'd be a good lawyer, because as a kid, when you say no to Abby, her name's Abriana, but she likes to be called Abby. When we would say no to Abby about anything, she'd say why, and when you say because I said so, that just never sat with her. And then when you give her the reason, she'd say okay, and she'd walk away, and then she'd come back with an argument that would totally dispel the reason that you gave her. And she wouldn't quit. She would just keep coming back with an argument that would dispel your reason, to the point where she'd just wear you down so much that you'd have to give her whatever she wanted. And I was like, man, you'd be such a good lawyer, because there's nobody that could win against you. Nobody. But she'll be that persistent as a publicist, I'm sure, as well, for her clients. So whoever gets her is going to be really lucky, because she'll get whatever she wants for them, because that's who she is. That's just who she is.
That's great. That kind of
yep.
That's great. That kind of reminds me of I don't know. Have you ever seen that little boy? He's a lot older now, but I forgot what his name is, but he became a YouTube sensation. He's the little boy that looks up at his mama and says, Linda, 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 listen, honey, listen. You ever seen that?
I haven't seen that, but I'll have to look that up.
It is so funny. It's like she tells him and his brother that they're in trouble. And he looks up at him, and he looks up at his mom, and he says, Linda, 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 listen, honey, listen. And she says, you're not listening to me. Trying to tell you that you are in trouble just like your brother. He said, no, 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 no. Listen, honey, listen. Linda, you got to listen to me. I mean, it is so funny.
That's her.
Yeah,
That's her.
it's
You gotta listen to her.
it's so funny though.
To her. That's exactly who she is. And then Isabella is a really gifted actress and a magnificent singer. And she hasn't been allowed. She's been at the conservatory to audition for anything. And as soon as she graduates, she'll be able to. So watch out for Bella Davidson, because she's going to be out there. She's going to be successful. There's no question. She's got it. Whatever it is that you know, when you see somebody on screen and you're like, oh my God, you know, that's who she is. So we'll be looking out for Isabella Davidson. She'll be big.
That's wonderful. And I wanted to. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. What you saying? Big sense.
No, I'm fine.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask you. Now, I don't remember you on these, but I know a lot of the fans out there do. I mean, I did watch both of them, but I don't remember you on them. But did you enjoy working on Guiding Light and Passions?
Well, Passions was a spoof. Passions was, and it's on YouTube. You can watch it. I was spoofing Nancy Grace.
Oh, okay.
So my character had a name that was similar to Nancy Grace, like rhymed with it. I don't remember what her name was, but it was as if it was. I did my hair like Nancy Grace, and I talked like Nancy Grace. And they even had on like Inside Hollywood or something, they had Nancy Grace on one side and my character doing whatever I was doing in the courtroom on the other side. And Nancy said, I think she did a great job doing me. And that's what it was. And it was so fun. It was so much fun. I love doing comedy, and that was just a blast. So that's what I did on Passions. It was I think my name was Grace Nancier. That was her name, Grace Nancier. So it was a takeoff on Nancy Grace. And then Guiding Light was one of those things where they just brought me on, and John Conboy, who just passed away recently, and I miss him so much. He gave me my start on Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
And he started Young and the Restless a million years ago. Anyway, so John was the producer of Guiding Light, and he knew I wanted to go back to work, and I thought, oh, great, I'll get a contract on Guiding Light, and I'll be able to work and still have my children and all that. It was just so exciting. And then sure enough, they got another producer like 2 minutes later, and that was the end of that. So that character really didn't get to develop at all. I mean, I don't even remember anything about it. I mean, I was on there like 2 days, and they got to produce it, and that was the end of it. So
oh, wow.
It really wasn't much. Yeah, it really wasn't much of anything. But the Passions thing was really fun. That was just a blast. I had so much fun doing that.
I'll have to be sure and check that out on YouTube.
Oh, it's funny. It's really, really funny. It's really funny. You'll laugh.
And I've got four more questions for you.
Okay, and then I'm gonna have to get off the phone because I've got to get a train to New York City.
Okay, so I'll make this really quick.
Okay.
What was it like competing in the Miss USA pageant?
Oh, well, that's coming on. I think it's tonight. The Miss USA pageant is on tonight.
Oh, wow.
It's Thursday. Yeah, it's on tonight. It was 1978 that a woman that I babysat for had entered me into Miss Teen something or other, and my mom brought in the mail one day and said, Tonja, this is for you, and I opened it up and it said I had been accepted into the Miss Maryland Teenager pageant as a semifinalist. And I'm like, what? You know, I didn't even enter this. I don't know what this is. So we looked into it, and my parents said, well, you know, you want to act, and this might be helpful, so let's give it a try. And I came in second runner-up, and that was fine. So then the next year I got another one from the Miss Teen All-American people. And they said that they absolutely wanted me in this beauty pageant, and that they'd seen me in the one before, the year before, and they really wanted me in this thing. And I was like, oh, my goodness. So I ran for that, and I won the whole thing. I won the National Miss Teen All-American deal. So I was, in 1979, I was Miss Teen All-American, and I got flown all around the world, and that was really great. And I was singing in a band. I was always working in high school and college. I was always singing in a band. So when that year was over, the Miss USA people contacted me and said they'd like me to run for Miss Maryland USA. And so I did that, and I won, and then I was a finalist in that. The thing that was amazing was that as a little girl, my mother would sing, there she is, Miss America, to me. But I wasn't in the Miss America one. And somebody's at my door. So I wasn't in Miss America. It turned out my sister, who was 6 years younger than me, she was Miss Maryland in Miss America, which was, just one second, I've got to get this door here. Hi, good morning, I'm still being interviewed. I'll just get you there. Anyway, so I was I went to the pageant, and it was in Biloxi, Mississippi, and most of the people were older than me. I was 18, and most of the people were older, and there were 20, 21, 22, and I saw Sean Weatherly, and I thought she was a vision. I just thought she was the most beautiful person I'd ever seen in person, ever. And sure enough, she won, and then she went on to win Miss Universe, which was huge. And the day after the pageant, there was a tremendous amount of rain, and no one could leave the hotel. The airplanes weren't flying.
Mm-hmm.
So it was before Biloxi was built up. There was nothing in Biloxi but the new convention center and the Royal d'Iberville Hotel. That's it. There wasn't anything else. And so everybody was stuck in the lobby of the Royal d'Iberville Hotel, and there was only two happy people, and that was Sean Weatherly and her mother. And everybody else wanted to get out of there. And,
oh my goodness!
And no one could leave, right? So thank God, Richard Klein, who was he played Larry on Three's Company, he walked over to me and he said, "I just want you to see something." And he showed me the paperwork that he had done when he was judging, because he was one of the judges. And he'd given me the first place mark all the way across. And he said he thought one of the reasons I didn't win was because I wasn't young. I was too young, and they really wanted somebody older so that they wouldn't have to worry about it when they're flying all over the world. They'd be of legal age.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I don't know. I think she was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And so my dad asked me to have lunch with us, and I told him how much I wanted to go to New York to be an actress, and he suggested that I go to L.A., and I told him that was out of the question because I didn't want to leave my family. And he told me a book to read called Audition by Michael Shirtless, and gave me his card and had the Three's Company phone number on it, which was really a big deal. That was a huge show at the time, huge.
Oh yes, I love that show.
That was a huge show. And anyway, so I get back to Maryland, and my phone rings, and my pageant director said a number of people have called that saw you on camera, and they'd like to talk to you. So I called them all back, and one of them wanted to fly me one way out to L.A., and my dad said, if somebody is worth their salt, they're not going to fly you one way, they're going to fly you a round trip. And why don't you call that Richard Klein and check these people out before you fly out there? And I said, well, he's not going to call me back. And Daddy said, just give him a call. So sure enough, I call. I get the voicemail for Three's Company. I leave a message, and Richard called me back and said I talked to my manager, Michael Wallach, about you, and I think you should fly out and meet him. So I flew out on my own dime, and I met with Michael Wallach, and he sent me out on a couple auditions, and I got everything I auditioned for. And I was only going out there for 2 weeks, and I went out there for 2 weeks, and I got work right away, like a national commercial for Hager's Wax and a national commercial for Nissan. It was Datsun at the time. And then I kept calling Mom and saying, well, I got another job, so I'll be home in 6 weeks now. I'm going to go shoot a movie with Matt Dillon in Houston. And that just kept happening, and I never went back home.
Wow.
I just never went back home, yeah. So going out there with a job, without, that's where I'm at now. I've got to go out there and see if I can get things fired up with, and it really wasn't me. It was really just meant to be. So I have to go out there and see if that happens again. And if it does, I'll stay. And if it doesn't, I'll do something else. So that's where I'm at right now.
Awesome. And how did it feel when you found out that One Life to Live was going to be canceled?
It was devastating. It was devastating because I just gotten offered a contract in 2011 to be back on that show. And I was so excited. Oh, my God. I was so excited. It was like a dream come true. And then they canceled it right after that. And it was devastating to so many of us. And, but then it breaks. That's what happened. And we've all moved on from that. But I do think it's important to note that everything that's on, when they say soap operas aren't popular, that's a lie. Because everything on 90% of what's on nighttime television, at least 80% of what's on is a serial. So clearly people still like to tune in and watch what happened last week and what's going to happen this week, and they do it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's still very popular. So that genre is not out of favor. It's just that having it on the daytime might be.
Now, last year you returned to GH as Olivia Jerome. We saw you threaten Jillian, to do your bidding, and also scare Ava. How did it feel to have all the powers of the evil villain?
Well, I enjoyed it, but what I didn't like is that Olivia wasn't like that when I left. Olivia was like that when I was there. But then she had turned around. When I left the show, she had turned around, fallen in love with a character named Colton. They'd done a whole bunch of stories about how she ended up, being tough and evil and all that. And she turned around into a good person and found out that someone could actually love her. And there's a huge backstory. So when I went back there, they had forgotten all about that, and they didn't write any of that. And so it was hard for me to justify having this obsession with Duke when she'd gotten over it. She was moved on. And then I remembered that it was 26 years ago, and half the people that were watching weren't even alive then. So for me to be fighting for what had happened and to be true to that storyline, it didn't make any sense. And I said to the producer, forget it, I'll do whatever you want me to do, because half the people weren't even alive when I was on the show before. So I just did whatever they wanted me to do. And it was fun.
Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then when I come back, I'm going to ask you the last question.
All right.
Hi everyone, this is Kristen Alderson from One Life to Live. I'm Lisa Manning and Kiki Jerome General Hospital. I am in an off-Broadway show called The Marvelous Wonderess, playing Cindy Lou. You can come see me in New York on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And you can use the code TRSTARR. That's TRSTARR for 40% off. Hope to see you soon.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here with Tonja Walkaer. And before I get to the last question, I do want to give a special shout out to somebody who is a very good friend of yours. She thinks the world of you, and that is Vicki Borkin.
Love her so much. If it weren't for Vicki, I wouldn't be on your show.
That's
I
right.
want to thank Vicki too, and then send her all kinds of love and thanks, appreciation for all her incredible support of me. I just can't thank you enough, Vicki, for all you've done.
And in the closing question, do you have any upcoming projects that you can share with us?
Well, I'm putting together this book, like I said, and then I'm going to be putting on this. I'm writing this comedy show about dating in your 40s and 50s, and I'm actually looking for funny stories that anybody might have of what it's like to, after a divorce, after you've been married for 20 years or a long time, and what it's like to date after these using all these silly online services, and any funny stories that have happened, or any funny stories about dating in your 40s or 50s. I'm looking for real stories so that I can incorporate them into my show. So I think there's a lot of people who have been in this position, and just all kinds of anybody has a funny story. Let me know what it is, because you can just send it to me on Messenger or Facebook, because I'm writing that show right now, and I think it's going to be a riot. So there's a lot of women and men that get divorced in their 40s or 50s, and all of a sudden they're out there again, and it's very weird. I'm certainly not dating yet, but I have imagined how weird it's going to be, and that's why I came up with this show, because I can't even imagine. And I've had people tell me stories I can't believe. Like one of them found their ex-husband. She had tried to do something nice for his new girlfriend, and the new girlfriend said, "Oh, you didn't hear? He showed up on my friend's Match.com page as available, and he's supposed to marry her, right?" So she set him up, and it was hysterical. So there's all kinds of funny, crazy things that happen in this time of life when you're trying to, start phase 2. And I think there might be some funny stories out there that I'd like to share in a TV show. So that's what I'm looking for. And that's where I'm at right now.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being on the show, Tonja, and we hope that you'll be returning to General Hospital in the future, or even another soap opera.
Thank you.
So we'll try to keep supporting you out there on Twitter. I know there's a lot of fan pages out there and stuff, to try to get you back on the show. And
Thank you. You can follow me on Instagram and follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and I'm really excited about always staying in touch with my fans. So thank you so much, and thanks for this interview. It was really great.
You're very welcome, and I hope you.
Okay, God bless.
Okay, you too. God bless.
Okay,
bye
now.
Bye-bye. Well, ladies, I hope you enjoyed that interview with actress Tonja Walkaer of One Life to Live and General Hospital. And I'll be posting the 2 shows coming up next week. I'll be posting them later today. So it'll be next Thursday and next Friday. We got 2 great shows here on the WSE Lounge. And I will thank you so much, everybody, for joining the WSE Lounge today. God bless you. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Let me let somebody close out the show.